Senator Smith.
Thanks very much, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Employment, Senator Cash. In light of the minister's responses to questions from Senator O'Sullivan, is the minister aware of reports of violence being perpetrated by officials of registered organisations?
The Minister for Employment, Senator Cash.
Well, thank you, Mr President. And unfortunately, Senator Smith, I am, and the incident in Queensland is not an isolated event. One CFMEU union official who has a record of violence and threatening and intimidating behaviour is WA CFMEU official Luke Collier. Because of Mr Collier's deplorable criminal record, he is unable to obtain a right of entry permit onto building sites. And yet, Senator Smith, the WA CFMEU proudly lists him as their labour hire youth organiser on its website. Mr President, one might ask, what example does this actually set for young people? Luke Collier, as many will be aware, was jailed in 2016 for assault. He also threatened a female Fair Work Building Commissioner inspector, making vile statements, which again I shall not repeat in this chamber as they are so offensive, but they did involve vile sexual language. He once spat at an inspector's feet and told them to lick it up. He was also charged with aggravated assault against his former girlfriend after she reported to police that she had been beaten on multiple occasions, including suffering a broken arm. And Senator Smith, just last week, Mr Collier was again charged with assault in our home state of Western Australia, and he is set to appear in the Fremantle Magistrates Court next month. Interestingly, though, there are CFMEU members in WA who are voicing their concerns at Mr Collier and his actions. For example, people are questioning how they can be spending their union's money on a bloke who can't go onto a job and do anything, and asking why we've inherited a bloke from the East Coast who's got a track record.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Smith, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Is the minister aware of any statements from the registered organisation concerned relating to its views on this matter of violence?
Minister.
Well, yes, I am, Mr President. In fact, Mr Dave Noonan, the National Construction Secretary of the CFMEU, wrote a letter to the Sydney Morning Herald in May 2015 saying that they abhorred violence against women. His letter said, "There is no double standard by the Construction, Forestry, Mining and Energy Union on the issue of violence against women. The CFMEU has taken a strong and public position against violence towards women. We will not stand by an official where there is evidence they have engaged in this kind of behaviour." And yet, Mr President, here we are today with the CFMEU continuing to stand by Mr Luke Collier, giving him a notable position within their WA organisation, despite his history of violence against women and his criminal record. So much for no double standard.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Smith, final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Is the minister aware of any other concerns about this official?
Minister.
Well, as I've stated, Mr President, the concerns about Mr Collier are exceptionally well known. He has been jailed for assault, threatened Commonwealth public servants, engaged in violence against women and has now brought this behaviour to my home state of Western Australia. But those at the CFMEU continue to defend him, as do many on the other side. And I've raised this before, Senator Cameron, asking no less than 61 questions at Senate estimates in October 2014, defending Mr Collier. And then, of course, in 2015, Senator Cameron wrote a letter on his parliamentary letterhead advocating on behalf of Mr Collier. And just in case there's any doubt, I will table the letter.
Point of order, Senator Cameron.